I love when it does this. It's like I'm coming back from the dead. Wajahat the asshat, you have been chosen to be called out. So this guy, little packy nerd from San Francisco, who lives and breathes white guilt, just like we were talking earlier about these guys who say, the head of the police department is white. And white people go, I'm sorry, that's terrible. Scotland's got to change its ways. This is what this guy does for a living. He complains about how people want him to go back where he came from and no one likes him. And what did he say to his mother told him at a young age, the reality is that most people of color learn early in America that we will have to work twice as hard to get half as far, which is ironic because his whole job is being a half piece of shit who whines about racism all day, even though he gets nothing but opportunities. So once again, the opposite is true. And when we fall, no one will help us fall up. Immigrants, people of color, and women, you mean the majority of the population, learn early that in order to make it in America, spelled weird, you have to Daft Punk it through life. I don't know what that means. You go around the world, you have to do everything harder, better, faster, stronger, and smarter. You go 20 feet just to get 10 feet. The truth is so well known among communities that we don't even, the truth is so well known among minority communities that we don't even discuss it. We've internalized this tough lesson completely so that we're often even tougher on those within our communities who don't appear to take it seriously enough. Some of us even go further. As Ali reminds us, you will feel anxious when any other person of color succeeds in your workplace and threatens to take away your coveted token status. You will invest in the narrative of scarcity and believe there can only be one. I came up with a theory recently because I remember my old co-founder of Vice, Sarush Alvi. I think his Paki mom used to say that to him. Sarush, you got to work twice as hard. I think it's bullshit to make them more successful. So he's like, Mommy, I did it. I didn't party in high school and I got a PhD in physics and now I'm a billionaire. See, I told you had to work hard, but you lied. You said it was racist. Well, whatever. You're rich now and you have a PhD in physics. So unfortunately, in Sarush's case, he couldn't handle the pressure and ran to heroin. But let's go back to the beginning of that clip, and I want to discuss each of these points because what he does is he just makes this example soup and hopes you'll all die of example exhaustion. Sorry, Tim, we're censoring you. But Piers,
it's all right, I quit.
I love that it's called uncensored and everyone is muted.
Can I say something?
Yeah, well, it's bringing Wajahat, yeah.
Sure. What did he say?
Is it the values, yeah?
He's trying to say Wajahat Ali, I think. Let's hear from Wajahat Ali.
It's bringing Wajahat, yeah.
Wait, go back.
Yeah, well, it's bringing Wajahat, yeah.
He forgot his name.
Say something?
Yeah, well, it's bringing Wajahat, yeah.
Let's bring him back. Isn't that kind of racist in a weird way? Hey, what's up? What's up, Djibouti, Booty, Dappy, Dappy, whatever the fuck your name is?
Introducing...
Let's bring in Mahajabaja Maja, whatever the fuck his name is. I don't...
Fee-fi for Ajalali Hollywood.
Let's bring in Wajibaji Buchi Bachi. I don't fucking know. What's your name? Let's bring in the p***y anyway.
Something?
Yeah, well, it's bringing Wajahat, yeah.
Let's bring Wajahati. He thinks his name's Wajahati.
Might as well be.
Not TDS when General Milley, the former top general who's retired, openly said that Donald Trump is a, quote, total fascist.
Stop.
It's not.
So we're going to take all these down one by one. So General Milley allegedly described Trump as a total fascist. General Milley is a radical leftist military man who is destroying the military and was fired. They keep talking about how Trump's own people despise him. No, Trump fires people. Kamala has fired 0 people. Joe Biden has fired 0 people. So they don't have enemies within their camp who despise them because all their enemies are still there. He was fired for radical incompetence. He's a fucking devout leftist. And there's no evidence that he called Trump a fascist. Bob Woodward said that General Milley called him a fascist. Now, if you recall, Bob Woodward was the guy who broke Watergate. He was a naval officer, a military guy working with the feds. And all of a sudden, one day, he decides to work at the New York Times as a journalist. What? And day one, he discovers the biggest story in world history, the story that took down Richard Nixon. I consider it pretty relevant. Watergate doesn't bother me. Does your conscience bother you? But the media considered it a big deal, and it ended Nixon. He's clearly a fucking Fed. Bob Woodward is a Fed. He's been working with the deep state his entire career, post-military career, to destroy Trump. And here he is working with another Fed, General Milley. Now, I think Milley may have said that Trump was a wannabe dictator here. He indicates it. But fascist to the core is not a quote. That's Bob Woodward, the proven Fed, saying that that Milley probably called him a fascist. I don't fucking know. Is that him being fired?
Yep.
And yeah, if you want to hear something bad about a person, talk to the employee that was just fired. Talk to someone's ex-wife. Like, remember, what was it? Ivanka Trump, whatever his ex-wife's name was. That's his daughter, right? What was his ex-wife's name? Forget, some dumb Russian name. But she said that Trump had a book of Hitler's speeches next to his bed.
Ivana.
Well, in his giant library, among his section of political books, there is a book of Hitler's speeches there, among Che Guevara's speeches and other political speeches. And he had read it one night, as you should. You should read all world leaders' speeches. So that became contorted into he reads Hitler's speeches every night before he goes to sleep. This is clearly an unreliable source. Next.
TDS, when Donald Trump literally over the weekend said he will unleash the military against U.S. citizens. It's not TDS.
Okay, stop. The fact that this guy has a job is it's charity. It's Pakistani charity. He said he will unleash the National Guard on the enemy within. Yeah, that's what we do here in America. Ever heard of spies? Ever heard of the National Guard? That's what you do. The National Guard, by the way, has been activated at least 16 times in American history. The LA riots, we unleashed the National Guard. That was the American military going against American citizens because they were destroying LA. It happened during the Cuban refugee crisis, the New York postal strike, at least a dozen other times, including the Civil War, they did it, the desegregation of Central High School in Little Rock, Arkansas. That was the American military being unleashed on American citizens to get a black girl to have the rights to go to school. The march from Selma to Montgomery, the American military was there to escort them. That is the military being unleashed on American citizens. The King assassination riots, and so on. It's a thing that you do when there's riots and unrest and you have to enforce the law. But they're pushing this now as they're taking those reasonable examples and implying that it means Trump will go after people that he disagrees with, which is what the left does. They accuse you of what they're doing. They are going against their political enemies. They have attacked Elon Musk. They had 34 counts. They turned Trump into a felon. They put our friends in jail for January 6th. They cut out our tongues while complaining that we're attacking them just because we disagree with them.
When Donald Trump last week in Aurora openly said that he will invoke the Alien Sedition Act that in turn...
What the fuck's the matter with that? We have the border czar, Kamala Harris, has allowed in 12 million illegals. And the fact that it was also used to detain Japanese Americans in World War II, so why are you bringing internment camps into this? And by the way, the internment camps worked. We got a fuck ton of spies through that process. And what are you supposed to do in a world war when you're up against Japan, Germany, and Italy, and you have Japanese, Italians, and Germans among you? What are you supposed to do? So Michelle Malkin wrote a great book in defense of internment, but that's not even relevant here. If you have 12 million illegals added to your already insane number of, 20 million, then you should employ the Alien Sedition Act. No?
Japanese Americans
Just go
during
back
World
a bit.
War II.
it seems so irrelevant to bring up Japanese. He's implying, this is propaganda, by the way, that you're watching. He's implying we're going to deport Japanese Americans. What?
Japanese Americans
No more.
During World War II. This is not TDS when Donald Trump last week in Aurora openly said that he will invoke the Alien Sedition Act that interned Japanese Americans during World War II. This is not TDS when he...
Like anti-murder laws put Japanese Americans who had murdered someone in jail. What the fuck are you talking about? We're not allowed to use that act anymore because it was once mean to Japanese during a war with Japan where they were massacring our POWs. You want to talk about what they did to us during World War II? I'm not just talking about suicide bombers. I'm talking about the POWs, what they did to Louis Zamperini. Next.
He, to this day, refuses. He's been asked multiple times, will you accept the 2024 results? He's not said.
You're forgetting that they add no matter what. Will you accept Russia and China's swimming gold medals no matter what? No. If they were doping, I will not accept their gold awards. And by the way, the left has never accepted an election they lost. Remember Al Gore with George Bush? They had to do a recount in Florida. Al Gore was denied the election. Remember Stacey Abrams? When Trump won, she would not shut up about how the election was stolen. Hillary Clinton regularly called Trump an illegitimate president. That's all they do when they lose is bitch about the election being stolen. And here's a crazy thing. Those elections weren't stolen, but the 2020 election was stolen. There are mountains of evidence where Biden gets 80 million votes, most popular president ever. We all go to bed winning. We wake up, and as the second we closed our eyes, Biden just moved ahead just enough to win. Fuck you.
Said yes each and every single time. He still does not accept the 2020 results, and he said his words that he will be a dictator for a day and he will terminate the Constitution.
Stop. The context of this is so obviously whimsical that you are willfully ignorant and you're pretending to take it literally. It's the same as someone said, well, you're gay, right? And I would say, only for Jason Statham, otherwise not at all. Or when they go, you say all these terrible things about women, only Rosie O'Donnell. You're aware that you're being baited. So Sean Hannity was saying, people think you're going to be a dictator. He's supposed to take the bait and go, no, I'm not going to be a dictator. He doesn't play that game. He's not a cuck. So when you set him up, like with me, if you go, well, you started Proud Boys. Proud Boys aren't racist. And I would say only against abos or something like that, or only against black Democrats or something. What I'm saying is I'm not taking your bait, fuck you, with these gay questions. And that's clearly what he said here. Go to 20 seconds into that link, 5-4.
You in any way have any plans whatsoever, if reelected president, to abuse power, to break the law, to use the government to go after people?
You mean like they're using right now?
Pressed later.
You would never abuse power as retribution against anybody.
Except for day one.
Except
Look,
what?
he's going crazy. Except for day one.
Meaning?
He's going crazy.
I want to close the border, and I want to drill.
That's not retribution.
See, Sean Hannity's trying to do a puff piece, and he's not taking the bait, and he's saying, yeah, by the way, he didn't say dictator there.
I'm going to be, he keeps, we love this guy. He says, you're not going to be a dictator, are you? I said, no, other than day one. We're closing the border, and we're drilling. After that, I'm not a dictator, okay?
But Mr. Trump has...
Does anyone seriously take that as I'm going to be Hitler, I'm going to be Kim Jong-un?
Look at him hailing Hitler right
Go
there.
fuck yourself.
Look at him with the two Hail Hitlers. It happened to be a hat in his hand. He said, get out of your hat. I'm trying to hail Hitler.
What he's doing is Zeke heiling the MAGA hat as it leaves. He's saying, heil my hat. Next, ass hat.
Constitution. It is the failure of corporate media. Dictator for a day, and he will terminate the Constitution.
He will terminate the Constitution. Even if you intended to be a dictator and terminate the Constitution, you should probably be quiet about that, no? So he never said he would terminate the Constitution. This is Chris Christie's allegation, where he discussed a massive fraud of this type and magnitude So Trump was talking about how the election was stolen. And if an election is stolen, then you have to do everything in your power to attack these people. If someone goes above the law, he was saying, then you have to chase them above the law. A massive fraud of this type and magnitude allows for the termination of all rules, regulations, and articles, even those found in the Constitution. He wrote on social media on December 3rd, 2022, our great quote-unquote founder did not want and would not condone false and fraudulent elections. So you tell me what to do when the government is taken over and elections are fake. That means you don't have a country anymore. There's no constitution to follow. His post was denounced by the White House and led to calls for urging of Kevin McCarthy to intervene. Trump later attempted to explain his statement. The fake news is actually trying to convince the American people that I said I wanted to terminate the Constitution. This is disinformation and lies. What I said was, when there's massive widespread fraud and deception, as has been irrefutably proven in the 2020 presidential election, steps must be immediately taken to right the wrong. Only fools would disagree with that and accept stolen elections. Then he goes, MAGA. Okay, next point there, asshat. Go back to the original vid with Piers.
Is the failure of corporate media and also social media. And
no, it's all of what you're saying, the fact that your dumb lies are accepted as truth to the left, and this silly cow over my right shoulder shows that the media has failed. We've been talking about the failure of the media for the past half hour. Check Univision, check everything but Fox News, and even Fox News can be pretty darn left if you want me to be honest. So yes, the media has failed by allowing propagandists like you to have a career.
Also, several influential people on YouTube for the past 4 years have not raised the threat and have done a both sides analysis where we've given Donald Trump a pass and promoted hateful talking points and conspiracy theories. And yes, some individuals and outlets have been paid by Russia. It has been confirmed. They have been unwitting agents of Russia, whether they realize it or not. Tim Pool and a lot of his friends, unfortunately, this is true. Now, I don't know if Tim knew it. He says he didn't, but this is the disinformation that has come out in the past 4 years, which is why.
Look, on Piers Morgan Uncensored, you can say that Tim Pool is a tool of the Russian government and he can't say anything. So the story is there that Lauren Chen started a thing like Compound Censored that was much better funded than Compound Censored, and guys were getting like $100,000 to do an episode. Then we find out that allegedly the thing was funded by rich Russians, but Dave Rubin, Tim Pool, Lauren Chen, they didn't change their views on anything. So I don't understand what the allegation here, that they got their talking points from the Russians. And the second they found out about this, the whole thing was shut down. So that's an incredibly lame allegation to make. I think we're done here, right?
Well, I mean, if you could step aside, maybe I could say something. Listen, man, what he has said is crazy. You know what? I quit.
You're quitting again?
Yep.
All right. I think that's a mistake. So just to remind you, we've been talking about asshat for a while now. He was the guy that blamed white women for Trump. He hates racism and white women. Racism, sexism, and white women are his three least favorite things. But if you recall, pull up that tweet. Majority of the white women, yet again, voted for GOP, the party that took away their rights and endorses hate and cruelty, whatever the fuck that means. White women got to step up, yo, and talk to their sisters. Only so much woman of color can do, yo. Look, he's everything. And here's a recent appearance on MSNBC. Where he's talking about America that doesn't love him back. Just like Harper that we opened with, where he goes, I love America, it just doesn't love me back. Me, me, me. It's a spotlight effect.
You came to America 13 years ago.
Nope.
I want to hear about the book, but I'm assuming your journey since is all a part of it.
Actually, I was born and raised in this country, but I came to New York, another country, 13 years ago from Fremont, California. So that actually counts, right? I actually came here, I was just telling Willie and the guests, I came here to New York City as a broke man at the age of 28, a young playwright with these big dreams of putting on my play, The Domestic Crusaders, single, trying to figure it out, and here I am at the age of 41. There you go, that's a photo of me when I used to wear husky pants. Anyone who used to wear husky pants, I'm sorry for triggering you, or the tough skins. But, you know, I was actually born and raised in this country to Pakistani immigrant parents, and my parents thought it would be hilarious to name me Wajahat to blend. And they also decided not to teach me English, Amika. I only knew 3 phrases of English when I was dropped off at Charles Hathaway Preschool. Shut up, because my mother used to say shut up, followed by idiot, and pasgerio. But I graduated with an English major from UC Berkeley. I'm a non-practicing attorney, and now I'm an author. So
a non-practicing attorney. No wonder you support Kamala so much.
It's a great country.
Sounds like this country taught you.
You know what he is? He's their little pet Packy. They love him. He does his little step and fetch it show, and they all giggle. And then he says, they told me to go back where I came from. Because they don't realize that I'm from America. He's such a little house immigrant, a house immigrant. But let me tell you that what he has in common with Harper Steele, Will Smith's tranny buddy, it's the spotlight effect. Go to 5'9".
Is being socially anxious. The one possible scenario is you enter a classroom, go to a party or on a
classroom or a party.
What usually happen is your heart will start to pound. Soon you begin to overthink and question, why are you there? You start to observe every single little thing you do. You become nervous and overthink all of your actions. And maybe you start to sweat. You fear that what you might say or do will be judged by others. What if they make fun of you?
This guy's accent is driving me nuts. Why do we keep having people who don't speak English, why do we keep making them narrators? This seems to be a common phenomenon now. Hello, even if you look up the pronunciation of some words, like analogous, it'll be like, hello, you're here to hear about the pronunciation of analogous. It is pronounced analogous. Get the fuck out of here. Go back where you came from.
Buenos dias. Mi amo, mio de noche.
Being yourself at all. This is not you. At least not the fun, talkable, and interesting person you are when you're comfortable.
If why'd they choose him to narrate this?
If this ever happened to you...
Here, let's hear someone who speaks English. Go to 60. It's a much less distracting explanation.
Well, in 1999, psychologists Thomas Gajlowicz and Kenneth Savitsky discovered this now famous phenomenon. They conducted a study asking participants to wear a Barry Manilow t-shirt. He's a famously hated musician.
Barry Manilow? Okay, I've had enough.
So, if you enjoyed that clip,
then subscribe to Compound Censored using this promo code.